friends, my name is Ness and I'm a rereader. I've been a rereader my whole life, and I think it was probably born from being from a family that wasn't big on reading. My father did take us to the public library, especially when I was a little bit older and during the summers, but as for books that I had easy access to inside of the house, it was a very small selection. It was a makeshift library that was very scavenged and hunted, and probably more than one of those books had school library stamps on the front. I have repented of this sin. So anyway, growing up, I was constantly rereading the same few books that I loved. I can also recognize that it's a personality thing though, because I also rewatch TV shows that I love. I once did a video about the media that I turn to when I'm not feeling well, and for sure the #1 top answer is the BBC version of Pride and Prejudice, and I will go watch that now for the millionth time above watching anything else that's new. The point is that yes, I reread things, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the things that I reread in 2015 and announce a small project I have for 2016. At the beginning of the year, I read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I've been reading this book since I was in high school and could not accurately count the number of times I read it in total. I definitely see some aspects of this story differently as I grow up with it. Every time I reread, and especially this year, I appreciate Jane more. She's such a wonderful protagonist, and it's interesting that she's constantly described as this mousy sort of thing because she's got so much personality and resilience, and she's witty, and she's got her own brand of sarcasm, and I love sarcastic characters. Along the same vein, I can stand back as an adult and say that Mr. Rochester is really creepy. I don't know if I really got that in high school. I definitely shipped this relationship less than I used to, and if I do now, it's just because he makes Jane happy. Like, I like him for Jane because Jane likes him for Jane. I also reread the first book in the Fairyland series, The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making by Catherine M. Valenti, mostly because I felt that was necessary before continuing on with the rest of the series. I originally read this first book in 2014, reread it in 2015 so I could continue with the series. I always talk a lot of crap about how crap I am at finishing series, and I always say there's a lot of reasons why, and one of them is also because I feel the need to reread things I've read a long time ago in order to continue with the series. Anyway, in this book, a girl named September gets whisked away to Fairyland, only to find that it's being oppressed by a self-proclaimed queen. I don't know if this is going to be a pattern, but with this reread, I also appreciated the main character more. In my first review of this book, I wrote that the supporting characters outshine September, and if you saw my YA heroines video, you know that September is my favorite forever now. Next, I reread Daughter of Smoke and Bone to, you guessed it, continue on in the series. I originally read this book in 2012, so come on, I had to reread it. I originally rated the story 5 stars, and I was super pleased to find that 2015 me still really appreciated it. I think I would give it like 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is probably not for everyone because it is fantasy and romance heavy, and Taylor's writing is very flowery. I will link you guys to the series review I have for the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. Next, I reread The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers because I wanted to finish off the series. And also because the first time I read both of those, I finished with just a sense of, I was done. And so I don't think I really appreciated the story or the characters the first time through. This time I decided to pair my reading with an audiobook, and holy moly, I just fell in love with these characters so much, specifically in The Fellowship of the Ring. This is such a rich and dense world that it begs to be revisited over and over again, and something about The Fellowship that I really love is that it has got that road trip aspect of the story, and so I love books where you have places where you need to visit, because as you're revisiting, you're thinking, oh yeah, this is where this happens, or oh yeah, coming up next is Tom Bombadil. I'm really glad that I reread them and just let myself enjoy them and enjoy the fact that Tolkien wants to tell you about every damn tree in Middle-earth. Finally, I started a reread of Harry Potter, and I've made it through 3.5 of the books. I attempted a reread 2 years ago, and I stopped at book 3 because after that, that's where it starts to get a little bit darker, and I wasn't there for that at that point. I hope to make my way through the entire series this time, especially because I've only read the last half of this series one time. What even is that? Am I a rereader or not? I've been talking a lot about my thoughts on the reread very recently in November and December wrap-up, so I'm not going to say much here other than it's given me a new appreciation for the main character, Harry Potter, and I hate Snape. Okay, so for 2016, I want to focus my rereading a little bit more. I might also be peppering some TV shows into my rewatch list, and that might be too ambitious, but it's almost the new year and anything is possible, so let's go with it. In January of 2016, I will be rereading The Knife of Never Letting Go and The Ask and the Answer by Patrick Ness. These are two of my favorite YA books of ever, and I've never finished a series because I feel like it might kill me if it ends in a way that I don't want it to end. Basically, any ending where Todd and Viola are not skipping merrily through a field, like put them in a Hunger Games style epilogue. Put them in an abandoned District 12 with some offspring. I don't care. Do it. Sorry, those feelings just bubbled up out of nowhere. The point is that I'm going to reread these two and finally read the last book in the trilogy. In February of 2016, I will be rereading The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I'm not quite sure if this is adult or YA fantasy, but it is about a magical circus. I thought the plot and the characters were just the first time around, but I flippin' loved that circus, and I wanted to revisit that circus right after I ended the book, so I'm finally making it a point to revisit it. In March of 2016, I will be rereading the entire Fairyland series, and I know you're thinking, wow, that is very ambitious, but I read through these so quickly that it's probably gonna be like a book a day for me. So yes, I will be rereading this in preparation of the release of the 5th and last book in March of 2016. As for the TV department, I'm going to try and rewatch Avatar: The Last Airbender across the first quarter of the year. I've only watched this show one time and it was as an adult, but I'm still like, I want to see all of the episodes again, so I'm going to try and make that happen. If you guys want to jump in on any of these and read or watch with me, you are more than welcome to. Whether or not it's a reread for you, if it's a first time thing for you, join me on my reread and I will hold your hand through the process. I'm just kidding, I don't know if that was creepy, but please join me. Let me know down in the comments if you are a rereader and if you reread anything in 2015, and I'd love to hear all of your thoughts about the books I mentioned in this video. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys soon, because creepy man is creepy. This is a totally inefficient way to make progress with anything if you're going back and rereading.